have to call the meeting to order here, and let's stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Welcome to our December 12, 2016 village meeting. I guess to start with, we will approve the agenda for this evening.
Mr. President, I made just an observation. I did see that we got our dam inspection. I'm not seeing any dam business on here that we're going to speak of. If you will, we can have that at next month's meeting.
Actually, we're going to talk about that at next month's meeting.
Okay, thank you.
This one's kind of a long agenda. The dam inspection. I don't know if we were going to talk about the dam inspection. I just said we'll do it next month. It isn't.
So we were doing a National Lampoon reference out here, sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
damn.
I got a story about that later.
Yeah, she knows.
Everybody's in good spirits. Good to see that. All right, if we could, I'm looking for any discussion on this. We have.
One removal apparently. I had on here, appointment Parks and Rec committee for, that was taken care of at last meeting. Mr. Vertical was appointed from the so that can be removed.
I'm sorry, can we start over now that the furnace turned off?
Please.
I had on here appointment to the Parks and Recs committee for council person, and apparently that was done at the last meeting. Mr. Bracco and Shannon are on there as representatives from the council, so that can be removed.
Are there any other questions or comments? If not, I'm looking for a motion to accept the agenda with the one correction.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda dated December 12, 2016 with the removal of new business number 9 regarding the appointment of to the Parks and Rec Committee.
Looking for support, please.
I support.
On your back.
Baraco. Yes. Light.
Yes.
McCafferty.
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our regular meeting, November the 14th, 2016.
Remember that. So that's a correction, it should be in November 11.
It was the 14th.
Yes.
Was it the day before deer season?
Yes, it was.
Mr. Vick and I know that.
Are those the corrections?
Yes.
Okay, so the minutes are, sorry.
A big correction on the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from November 14th, 2016 as corrected.
Support.
Baraco. Yes. Light.
Yes.
McCafferty.
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes. Treasurer's report, the purple sheet.
Mr. President, for construction of 2013, can we make a motion at next month's meeting or put it on the agenda to pay that off, please?
I thought we were going to do that when it comes due in what month? It comes due in May. We kind of talked about that.
It's under
before.
administrative.
Or you want to talk about it?
Principal payments due in May, and that's when they want us to pay it.
So in May, we're going to pay it off. Okay, thank you.
Well, we will use that leftover money to pay additional money on the principal. Right, just to clarify.
$50,000. Anything else? Looking for a motion, please. is to accept the treasurer's report December 12th, 2016.
Motion to accept the December 12th, 2016 treasurer's report.
Support.
Brown,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
McCaffrey,
Yes.
Dick,
No.
Baldwin,
Yes. The bills and transfers, the green sheet. Questions, comments?
Does the grader repair have anything to do with the tires?
No, that's a separate.
Thank you.
Question, bottled water. What do we buy bottled water from?
Yeah, the DPW. Our water's not drinkable.
Okay, thank you, that was gonna be my next thing. I know at federal level what the rules are, and if it's not potable is the term, then it's allowed at the federal level with tax money, so, thank you.
Anything else? I'm looking for a motion to accept the bills and transfers. I will make a motion that we accept the bills and transfers submitted December 12th, 2016, as presented.
Support.
Brown,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
McCaffrey,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes. This is the first part of our public comment. Agenda items only. Someone?
I can, if you want me to. I always have something
Thought
to
you
say.
lost your voice too.
Keep
No,
up with tradition.
it's regarding the planning commission and the zoning board. I see that they're on here for appointments, but it doesn't list who is up to be reappointed.
We will be discussing that.
Right, it's an agenda item. Can that be answered? Who's up for appointment?
Who's on the,
Zoning Board of Appeals is Mr. Bass and Mrs. Christner. Joyce Baker and Adam Klein are the planning commission.
I guess just to continue my point, with the zoning
Come up
board.
to the microphone.
can't see the camera.
Okay, but you call the meetings, right? 'Cause I'm not allowed to talk to anybody else.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna bring up Norm Bass and his criminal history and his recent
I'm gonna stop you
incident.
right there. I'm not gonna.
We
get
don't need
these
to go into
items.
detail, but I think you better think twice before reappointing him to a board that represents the village.
Anyone else? If you would, please step up to the mic.
If we're talking about the board, are we talking about the planning commission now? Okay.
We will be.
Wasn't there names that were submitted by Colleen Consiglio and Wendy Shematero? Weren't those applications also put in?
Not for that.
Not
Wendy
for the
did.
planning board.
Wendy did,
Wendy did.
but we don't have
Colleen
any.
did not. So who decides just how that works when the planning commission is decided? Is that a vote just with yourselves?
You okay?
I'm just curious, because I don't know.
And we will be discussing that.
You'll be discussing it. Okay, well, because I have some suggestions that might not fall into this category, but we do uphold charters, correct? Charters that are created, we uphold. Do we not? Right? Okay, so nepotism should be part of it. And that is a big part of this committee, and has been for some time. And I think it's time that nepotism, being that it is in our charter, is shown as not allowed to be part of our committees. Our charter shouldn't be allowed. Wouldn't you agree? Isn't that part of our charter? Don't we uphold our charters? And if we do, then why are we turning around and changing them to suit our own needs? We take that for what it's worth. But I think Colleen and Wendy would be a great part of this committee. I think their interests are that of the best of this community. I appreciate your letting me speak. Kathleen Corbett is my name, 10214 Hawthorne Ridge Road.
It was video, and I figured that.
Well, that's okay. It says that that's what I'm supposed to do, so I figured must be part of the charter.
Anyone else? All right, let's move forward. Unfinished business, the Parks and Recs.
In your packet, there is a letter from Angie Adamek, chairman of the Parks and Rec Committee. They have been working as it states on a mission statement, and they're looking for input from the council or approval of their mission statement. And then I did receive about an hour ago 2 applications for the Parks and Recs. 3 applications for Parks and Recs. At this time, as far as I know, there are still 10 members, and in this letter, they recommend, or 10 members, they recommend minimum of 5, maximum of 11. Maybe Shannon can give us a little more input on the number of members that were chosen. I mean, anybody can come to a meeting.
Right, anybody can come to a meeting and anybody can offer input at those meetings. We set it at a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 11 to kind of mirror what is currently being done with the council and planning commission. I think he has 11 people, so zoning board is smaller. So we thought with the Parks and Rec committee, the more the merrier. However, we still needed to set a limit, because if you get too many people, then there's too much conflict, and then it becomes a group of nothing but storming, and you don't ever come together and come up with a solid set of ideas. We felt that things just wouldn't get done efficiently that way. So we set it at a maximum of 11. And that was just for ease of operation. But anybody is welcome to come. Young pediatric to geriatric, please come to the meeting.
Just curiosity, where did 11
We need an odd number. If everybody's there and you have an even number of voting, there's no tiebreaker. So the 11 is the odd number, and you have like the tiebreaker. We stopped at 11 just because it mirrors like what planning commission has.
Just real quick, Mr. President, and for Jackie, I'm reading this thing, and Jackie's saying that she thinks that there's 10 on here, and reading this one sentence says, our 8-member committee unanimously supported this proposal. So this thing's stating that there's only 8.
So I think now with Mr. Baracco, I think there's 9 of us now. This was done prior to.
Well, and in all due respect, I don't know if council should be adding up to those numbers for residents that are down here volunteering for. I mean, they're kind of there as the ex officios, if you will, and for, participating in this and whatnot. But I think the more residents input that you have would be better.
Right, and that's why they're welcome to come to the meetings. I mean, we have ex officios on planning, we have ex officios on zoning, and that doesn't allow for somebody else to just come sit on their seat is held as a seat.
Okay, so if we're gonna go down that, I guess I'm confused on the village statement. The Village of Goodrich Parks and Recreation Committee shall be a volunteer citizen advisory board made up of a minimum of 5 and maximum of 11, which you discussed. However, the next one says the village residents appointed by the village council. So, like I've said in the past, you have the village volunteers and the village recreation committee. They're having a hard time separating themselves. So is this a volunteer citizens advisory, or is this appointed by the village council?
When it says volunteer citizens advisory board, it means that there's no compensation to any of the board members. They're volunteering to be sitting on the Parks and Rec committee. They're not being paid to sit there. They're volunteering to be a part of that committee.
But for your number that you're stating in here, Jackie,
For
correct?
the number, I would say hold off on this until after the first of the year when we have our,
As I said, I'm not sure.
yeah,
if that's up to date. We would need to take, there were a couple people that were
Right.
questionable because of health. Where they are in that
yeah,
process.
I would say let's wait, let's hold off till January. The council meets after the, Parks and Rec committee meets, so we would have a solid count at that point to determine who, if anybody was volunteering or wanted to be on it.
Table this till January.
That's what I would say.
And then the other question that I have on here, when it says the 8-member committee unanimously supports this proposal, how was that vote taken?
Roll call.
Was it done by email form?
I don't believe so. I believe I was sitting here and we said yay or nay. Or, all approve, say aye, yay.
Can we start having the minutes from these meetings with the
I'm
people
gonna-
in attendance?
I'm gonna propose that at the next one, that Angie starts emailing them so we can have one.
I believe the last thing that went through for the grant was all email form and suggestions put through, and then there was a decision made, but it was a decision by one, not by all. Just so I know, that's why this is coming out in the same scenario. And then my other suggestion is if we're going to adopt this, from everything else we run through our planning, I forget the name of it, our planning department, who's the name of it?
Melissa?
Yeah,
Melissa.
would probably want to read this and say yea or nay on it, or suggestions for wordage, if you would. You might want to run that through them.
I don't have a problem.
Consensus is, we table this?
Table it till January.
Mhm.
Sound good? Okay.
So motion.
Yes.
Or-
We're doing it by motion,
You're gonna have-
It really is just a Parks and Rec.
because it's only a Parks and Recs,
Okay. That's what I'm doing.
it's a report, it's not, you know what I mean? We don't need to.
Well, the council will ultimately have to adopt the mission.
Right, yeah.
So you don't need to make
We're good with that. Number 2 is the reports from the street administrator, 9/11, Water and Waste, Genesee County Sheriff's Department. And before I turn it over to our street administrator, do you have anything that you could also add into the streets?
Other than the guys worked their rear ends off over the weekend, and I would be willing to bet if you went to another community, you didn't see asphalt when you drove down the road. I didn't go out of the community today, but they were in all weekend and early in the morning, and did an awful good job as far as I'm concerned. Great job, not awful good, but.
Now our street administrator.
I agree. Props to our guys, props to the DPW guys. I was out a whole bunch of times this weekend, and they were on the ball. It wasn't too many times, like you said, you didn't see asphalt on the majority, at least the main roads. Talk with them, getting to know them, and get a good relationship started with them. Looking into, as was mentioned by Mr. Baldwin, looking into several of the subdivisions, repaving in the future here, and exploring
one more thing. Yesterday or this morning, somebody shut the gate, and the reason the gate is left open when we have multiple inches of snow on the ground or coming, is because it gets stuck, and it can take a half an hour to get the thing open, which is a half an hour that they're not out plowing. It's taken that long before. So when you see the gate open, it's open for a reason. It wasn't just forgotten. So. Want me to do 911?
Please.
911, we have elections at 911 tomorrow, actually. We will be getting a new chairman, new members on the executive board. Water and waste, there's nothing to report on that at this particular point in time. And the sheriff's department, I did call, we used to get dailies as well as significant reports. We just started, probably within the last 6 months or so, just receiving the significant reports, and this month we didn't get one. I didn't get a call back yet, but I'm going to try to get those so that people know that they're out there giving warnings, giving tickets, whenever we have an issue on Gennesee Court and Ridge Road, running stoplights, or stop signs, and want to make sure that they're sitting out there or taking a look at what's going on. That's it.
Water waste, anything else? Code enforcement, Dave is not here. I don't really have anything. I talked to him here a couple days ago, and he was talking with the man on Dutch Road, and he's making progress, very slow. He's going forward with the barn. Number 4, we're through with that one, is the administrative.
Just for your information, I was out ill for a couple of days, and then with the deadlines for the newspapers being changed around because of the holiday, the ad, I need to have an ad in the paper for 15 days for your public hearing, and I apologize for not putting that on last month. Things happen. So the tattoo parlor, the ad has been placed already, and we'll have your public hearing in January. In your packet, there's some information about this room and the rental of it. This is for you to take a look at. We think, as far as the office staff and cleaning people, that we might, right now it's $100, it's $25 to rent the room, and $75 you get back if the room is left in the same condition it was when you rented it. I'm suggesting that we go with 50-50 because the use of the room, not only for council plan commission, some of our subdivisions have their meetings here, their parties here, their different things, and the floor needs to be cleaned on an every 2-month basis. So if we change that price, the Lions Club charges $100 for a half a day and $150 for a full day. Their birthday parties and that kind of stuff. They don't charge for nonprofits, or neither do we. So I just want you to take a look at that and think about it for last month. If anybody has any suggestions or anything.
So you want to go 50-50? So $50 to rent the room, or?
Yeah. I mean, you can put any price on it that you want, but it's only available to village residents.
Yeah, I know we rent it in our subs, so.
Where the Lions Club, for instance, anybody can rent that.
We at least have to get enough money out of it to cover the expenses, and the company has really been taking a beating from the funds.
But we want to keep it low enough so that people enjoy using it.
$50.
That's why it's
pretty
here.
reasonable.
What else did I have on here? I do have a letter from Mr. McKinney that I'll distribute after the meeting regarding the sale of the equipment. According to Mr. McKinney, sale of equipment was not in violation. And I will distribute that. We already talked about the balance for spending. There was no spending from that 213 account on anything other than that road. we paid a little over $3,000 for gravel to go on the end area of the project, so it's been used for what it's supposed to be used for. And I think Mr. Baracco wants to talk about a credit card.
Yes. Well, actually, I just want to talk about a couple of things actually with administration. Maybe, I apologize if I talk like a banker, because I am a banker and I tell businesses how to make their money funds work better, so that's my job. So, couple things being an assigner. I noticed we do have a credit card, and I noticed we're not getting any kind of rewards for it. Something that I would recommend we do a resolution for is actually to get one. Knowing that most villages and most townships and cities that I deal with on a daily basis have something like this, our expenses could be better streamlined to where we're actually making something back, where we can donate money to other things like parks, recs. For an example, I'm just gonna let you know that the other townships that do have similar types of cards that do have rewards earn anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 a year by putting their expenses on these cards. It is something that we can do. I'm not sure why it hasn't been done in the past, but I'm thinking if we can start streamlining some of these administration costs, you start putting things like consumers on there and making things streamlined, the village can have a little bit of money at the end of the year to.
How does it streamline it?
Well, one, you're running checks for everything right now, correct? Okay, so if you were to put everything on your Chase card or your Ink card that you have now currently, you could actually make 5% on all those administrative expenses. So
Okay.
you figure we pay
Do
about
they send a check?
It's a rewards-based point system that you can redeem at any time, and
No, how do you redeem it? Can you redeem it for cash?
yes,
Okay, that's what I was
yep,
getting at.
you can get 5% on all utilities, office supplies, and everything back.
Right,
So,
because the bookkeeping that you do
right.
But is it a check?
for a government.
Is it
Deposit.
deposit, it's directly deposited into an account.
Cash.
Yeah,
Right.
you can either do that or check, you have your options.
Because government accounting
Right.
doesn't allow for me to pay the consumer's bill with a $50 credit.
No, yes, so you still pay
if
your,
we're-
you'd still pay
yeah.
all your expenses the same way you would, except you'd be paying on the card, right?
Right,
One, it's gonna eliminate checks, it's gonna eliminate paper, it's gonna eliminate time.
well, not really.
I mean, I want to come in and sign a check if it's already taken out of the card, right?
But you have a lot of vendors, you don't just go to pay utilities, you
You
have a
can-
lot of people, so you'll still be writing.
Right, you used to write
checks.
checks, but you can,
But-
about half the checks that I signed this week alone, I don't know, I mean, you said, could have been paid with a card,
Right,
where in turn would have got us 5% cash back, which in turn could be used for parks and recs purposes. I mean, I do this for a living, I tell businesses to run their business this way because of the fact there's money just be thrown away, right?
Right.
We're paying money for, it is free money, there's stamps that you're buying, there's all kinds of things that would save expenses.
This doesn't mean anything as far as your software, I mean, it's just.
we're not set up to do it that way, it would have to be set up, we're not set up, we have never been set up to put everything on a credit card. When you put it all on a credit card, I still have to put it, I have to take each item out of the correct, account. In other words, you might have a bill at Brown's, and it goes to major roads, and some of it goes to minor roads, and some of it goes in the park, and some of it goes to each line item in your budget. I still have to go down that bill, and everything has to go there. Now, when it crosses over from major roads to minor roads and things like that, it'll have to be set up to do tos and do froms. And I'm sure that BSNA can do that, you've just never done it. I mean, it's never easy. We write checks, or we use EFTs, so.
So we would have to look into how much it would cost us to make
Yeah,
that
to have the
transition.
software set up to enable it to do that.
So, I guess I don't understand that. You have to show me the software, I'm not sure what, I mean, it's just going online and actually paying the bill with a card versus writing a check, so I'm not sure what the you have internet here, right? You have online internet, so
Right.
it's just going to consumer's website, putting the ink card on there and paying it, and then you still get your paper bill, so you can still separate it into what account that money would
What
be
she's
first.
saying is, when you get the green sheet, has check number, we have to make sure that it would say a designation of where that money came from.
Right,
Um,
so there's a
they
special
just have to
software that we
check
use for that then?
I don't know.
It will, yeah, I know, I have to, we've never done it, so. I
No, I'm
have to-
saying
we
you
have
use a
to-
certain special software now that does
We have,
that.
yeah, we have government accounting software, but we've never set it up to do it that way. It's not so much paying it, I have to pay the credit card.
Right.
And when I pay that credit card, all of those expenses have to be accounted for out of the line items that they were paid.
Right, which you still have a bill to go through and do the
Right.
line items.
Yeah, but when some of them go to major roads, some of them go to minor roads, normally I just get one invoice.
Right, it might take a little more work at the end of it, but I think you're gonna be cutting some work in the front end too.
I don't know.
Well,
I have no idea, because,
Right.
again, we'll have to get a hold of the software people
Okay.
and find out. If other municipalities do it, then obviously it
Yes.
can be done. But yeah, we're gonna have to do some tweaking with the software.
Yeah, I'm just thinking something we should definitely.
I think something we should look into by all means.
And in other municipalities, where are they putting the rewards? I know, I
Refunds
do
and
it,
rebates is a
Okay,
line
'cause I-
item from,
the
Yeah.
government accounting that I do, we cannot be a part of any reward type program, period.
right.
So,
There's a refunds and rebates
Yeah.
line item on my government accounting, gas
and then is
software.
that
Well,
money?
we get other rebates.
Well, City of Davison, for example, uses it for parks and recs.
Okay.
So there's different,
Okay.
you can change that rebates reward. It can go to something every
So
year.
like those,
It's-
like the money that we save, we could say,
Yeah.
you know,
It would
that
still go
It's
in.
not
rebate would
counted.
roll,
Rebates
would
and
roll
rewards
over
that could be
into Parks and
designated
Rec.
for something.
But
Yeah, it can be given whichever income line item you wanted to put
Right.
it in.
Exactly.
Government Finance Officers Association, and in here it does say some of the things that Mr. Greco has said, and it also does say that in addition to reducing paperwork and delivery of goods, I don't know about that, but it does say in here for program rebates that it's a recommendation that they do. And I do have a call in to Mr. McKinney. I've called the auditors and I've called MML. And until we get something in writing from someone, I would feel better that we obviously wait. And the reason that we have not done this in the past is that there has been an issue that came up that I'm not going to go into, and I don't feel comfortable doing it. We have a banker on board, and he's in charge of it, then fine.
Well, I think we should certainly look into it. If there's money that we can save and, set it aside for something, be park and recs. That's what we're here for. But let's go forward and cautiously, like I
Put it on the
said.
January
Sure.
meeting.
And like with current like credit card buys or, things under $500 that can just be purchased. When I think of Mr. Baracco coming in and signing checks, it's almost a checks and balance kind of thing to make sure that things are, okay, we're paying a consumer's bill, we have a check for consumers, it goes out to consumers. So would Mr. Baracco still have to come in to look at those bills and say, yes, this one can be charged, yes, this one can be charged, yes, this one can be charged? Or is, there's a checks, to me, it's a checks and
Well,
balance
it depends
thing.
on whether you're using it for purchases or whether you're using it to pay consumers that you don't approve beforehand
For John.
every month
Maintenance
or
of
pay.
vehicles.
Right, I just,
Check is what you do.
right,
Bills
and
that
I
we
just,
always
I just
pay.
worry like, not to say that, people are shady in the office. I'm not accusing anybody of anything like that, but, I know I have checks at home where, well, hell, I don't know what I did with the bill. We can't find the bill, and even though we pay, how do we know that that was the village consumer bill and not Shannon McCafferty's consumer's bill?
That's
So I
embedded
think
too,
just
check.
like
Well,
to keep
because
the
when you
integrity
pay-
of the system.
When you pay the charge, the actual charge off,
Mm-hmm.
I'm required to have every receipt with that consumer's bill. The auditors get really angry if you don't have every
Right,
receipt.
right,
So if
Signed
mine
by
is
me.
in there, somebody's gonna notice it.
okay, and I know that like with audits
And
and
we have
stuff,
about
there's,
8 consumers bills,
yeah,
but they're all made up to us.
there's a limit, like there's, you know, if the expense is under X amount of dollars, you may not necessarily have to have a receipt. I know when I travel.
No, we have a receipt on that. on our
Okay, it has to be on
consumer's bill.
every single
If
one, it
it's
doesn't matter if it's
$13,
25 cents or if
Absolutely.
it's 25,000.
Every expenditure on that credit card has to have a receipt with the thing that I
Okay,
staple it all together with the check stub, it goes in the drawer, and it is audited at the end of the year, and it's all there. They, you know, because they pick and choose, anything that they want, they come down and say, oh, this check, this check, bring them up here, give me the receipts, give me the invoices,
yep, all the
everything
back
related
packing
to that
materials,
expenditure,
everything.
and it's all there. So, I'm not worried about that part. The checks and balances are still there, just like a check, because you have to have those receipts
Okay.
there. And it doesn't matter, I have never spent a check for 25 cents, but I'd have to have a receipt if I did.
Okay,
But
yeah,
we-
no, I'm
and I don't
just
sign-
giving
yeah.
like, you know, the extremity
Right.
of it.
But remember, we're already
Yeah.
spending money on a card we're already paying for. So there are expenses that we're not even checking right now.
Right,
So-
that's what I was saying,
Right,
you know,
so-
consumers and things like that,
Mhm.
that you're spending a considerable amount of money on, could easily be earning that money back, and, you know, the consumer bills are there, you're welcome to look at them anytime you want. Eric said,
We do have a credit card policy that would have to be updated, and there is a limit that we can do. Cards can't exceed 5% of the total budget, general fund, which I think we'd probably be safe on that. But, there's some more things we need to take a look at, but I don't see that it would be a problem to be able to do that. I don't know, consumers, apparently they do take credit
Yeah.
cards. I don't know.
Mhm.
That's a big one.
Just don't pay them over the phone with the credit card, because they think they'll charge you a fee. You can go on their website and do it, but don't call somebody.
You all said you have some objectives here, you know what you're gonna be doing.
Right.
So we're all set, so the next month we have,
Yeah, we can put that on next month.
And I can come
Work
up
on-
and you guys can show me what you're talking about, and I can kind of walk through it
Right.
a little bit and do like I do with clients.
yeah, but it's not a problem, they using the credit card, oh, the software,
Yeah, I
change
took
for that.
your software,
It's
thing, we'll talk about that.
at the end, when you get that credit card bill,
How to
with
itemize it.
all those different itemizations from different checking accounts, basically, you know.
we all set? Anybody else?
I had, something about, I was talking to the high school about, and sitting up here and talking to people in the office and just trying to, and listening to people in the audience about ease of, like, I'll call it like tedious work. Updating websites, uploading agendas and things like that. Well, I contacted the high school and they have a co-op program. And we could get a co-op student for a semester. It would not cost the village anything. We would be working with the school to help the student graduate. They could answer phones, they could do filing, they could type agendas, they could do some research type things, they can update the website, they can make sure that things are on there. The only requirement is that they have like 10 hours a week, which would be 2 hours a day. I was a little bit leery, but I have gotten responses from a high school student that would be interested in doing something like this. I don't know if it's something that the village would wanna do. It would require minimum training of somebody. I also, at the last meeting, mentioned having a newsletter in the sewer bills, and I would volunteer to do the newsletters that would include, you know, important dates, motions that have been passed through council meetings, and it would go out quarterly. It wouldn't be something that was monthly, because we don't want to add the expense. We're already spending money to mail the sewer bills out. To the people who don't get sewer bills, there would be a few envelopes that would have to be addressed. But it would be something similar to what the township does with their newsletters, reminding people of garbage dates, holidays, hours, phone numbers, things like that. That's something else that, what I'm thinking like a co-op student could do would be, you know, stuff envelopes
They
and
don't come from us.
the sewer bills do
They
not?
come from Genesee County.
Oh, they come from the county, okay, well,
They'll
but-
stuff them. but
they'll
you
stuff
have-
them, okay,
You
well,
have to, you pay them and they do it.
You can find out what the cost would be.
okay.
It shouldn't add to the postage at all, but they
Right.
do charge to put things in.
Okay, and, but just something like that, just to, you know, when I was going door to door, there were a lot of people who either don't read newspapers, they do not read, they're older, they don't go on social media, they're not getting, and they don't attend meetings, so anything that's said here, printed in papers, printed on social media, they're not getting, they're getting their news from their neighbors. And this would just be, you know, the buzzword of last month's meeting was transparency. And this would be just to keep everybody in the loop. It would be quarterly, it wouldn't be, you know, like real time, so to speak, but it would be quarterly as to what's going on in your village. So just something to think about. Like I said, it wouldn't, you know, I would volunteer to do the newsletters. I would take, you know, if somebody wanted to add something to the newsletter, you know, if, you know, the two Tims, you know, do you guys have anything to, you know, we can have a little section, you know.
TNT section.
Yeah, TNT, what's happening, you know, so, but just to keep people in the loop, that, you know, that was something that people, you know, were, you know, well, what's going on? We don't know what's going on, you know, once I got more questions about when trash pickup date was than, you know, it's Wednesday. You know, so, been that way for years, but, you know, I don't know, but I just thought that, you know, that those two things were important to me. I went out and researched it, and I do have interest, like I said, from high school students,
Just
so.
to let you know, we have had a co-op student in the past. It's
Yep.
been a while ago. Kids are a little bit more, it didn't work out really well. So
Okay,
I
this-
think kids are a little bit more,
Yep, the girl who has contacted me has
Sure.
I mean, I truly believe that this girl wants to be involved. She's contacted me regarding the co-op program, and she's contacted me, being on the Parks and Rec committee. So there is a definite interest, and, she gave me her phone number and email. She called me, left me a voicemail. I sent her a text back because it was kind of late, and, you know, she texted me back. I mean, there is definite interest. I do not believe that with this girl that it's just a fly-by-night kind of, you know,
we
yeah.
could use somebody for 3 hours in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times I'm in meetings, which leaves Tracy there by herself, or she's not
Yeah,
really
okay, well,
fun.
Yeah, I mean, I can, if this is something that, you know, I mean, again, it's not costing anybody anything. It's just, and it's, the time to train somebody, this isn't, you know, it's not rocket science. We're talking filing and answering phones. If you can, you know, thank you for calling the village of Goodrich. I think you're already ahead of the game, so.
It might promote more community involvement anyways. I mean, we had a couple of Boy Scouts in here last meeting
Mhm.
that they were in here for a badge. You know, if we can get some of the younger people involved, it might promote,
Right, and
more
I mean,
community involvement down the road
no,
or
and
family
getting them
involvement.
to, yep, and getting them to talk about it, you know, yeah, I was at the village offices today and, you know, blah, 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 you know, whatever, you know, yeah, I was at a Parks and Rec meeting and they were talking about this, you know, hey, we should get involved in this.
I
I
won't
can dig
say,
it.
won't say that it won't work, but,
Yeah, I'm not
I know that
making
we've tried it a couple of times.
Not
Once
making
was
any
like,
promises,
a year and a half ago.
I don't come with guarantees, I come with ideas.
the township tried it and it didn't work there, but let's try it.
Right, I mean,
You
maybe
never know.
it
You're off
could
on
work.
Fridays, right?
Starting not next week, but the following week, I
One of
believe.
the other days that Shira can get in touch with us and
Yeah,
she can come in and we can take a look at it.
Yeah.
nobody has an objection. I don't have an objection
I
as
think with the
long as.
right mentoring, it'll be successful. I mean, I'm a board member on Kiwanis, and we have high school kids that do things that even adults won't do.
Like I said, they're
So
more savvy now.
Yeah,
there's
and
no
then-
negative about it, as long as you have right mentoring, so.
Especially if somebody's actively pursuing us, showing the active interest in getting involved and in doing it, you know, if somebody that might be interested and you kind of lackadaisical about it, and I'd be a little leery, but if it's somebody that's, you know, actively beating your door down, hey, I wanna do this, then I give them a try.
Sure, got nothing to lose.
I will check with the county on the cost of putting the newsletter in.
That's all I have.
It'd take long.
No, not at all.
If we could-
I got shorter meetings, so let Shannon talk. Shut her up.
I'm not gonna say anything. Number 5 is the sidewalks, if we're moving on past the administrative.
Yes, we
Number
are.
5 is sidewalks, report. We're covered in snow, I assume. I did notice though that our path up there, that they shoveled out already too. There's people on it already, that always amazes me. Number 6, the attorneys.
Does it have a letter to give you in?
The next one would be the resolution 2016-18. This is appointments to the planning commission.
Reappointment.
Reappointment, excuse me.
And just to let you know, I did get application from Wendy. I'm not gonna butcher her name, I know I am. Yeah, today to be on the planning commission or the zoning board of appeals. At this particular time, if these appointments are made, we have one opening for the alternative member on the zoning board of appeals, and at this point, the planning commission is complete with the reappointment of these people.
With the reappointments. Council, discussion?
Was any of this posted in the paper, let you know that there would be potential openings, so anybody could apply for these positions? Is our community aware of these positions going to be opened up?
There was an ad put in a while ago, when we have a reappointment. I talked to the president, who's ultimately responsible for the reappointment, and to the individuals, posting information as to whether or not they want to remain on there, and both of these people want to remain on there.
So,
And I understand that part, but I'm saying was, I didn't see anything in the paper, and I didn't know that these openings would potentially be there.
but it's through the,
Once they say that they want to be reappointed, and Mr. Bolton has indicated, then there's no reason to put an ad in the paper.
Wait a minute, can I say something,
No.
please?
and it's
Well,
my
I think it ought to be
position.
said. I don't
You're
see how
out of
that you
order,
can-
ma'am. You're out of order.
No,
You
no,
have-
the
you'll
board
have your
is,
opportunity
the
to
board
the
is.
meeting to speak.
How can people
Ma'am, you are out of
get,
order.
how can people get appointed or asked to be appointed?
Excuse me,
It's not
you
put
are
in the
out
paper.
of order.
Well, I think you are too.
Yeah, and I thank you for your words. Thank you very much. Please.
Well, try to
It is
abide
my
by something.
position as president for the reappointments, and I see no reason not to reappoint these people. The next process is you find out whether or not they want to continue being on these commissions. They say yes, we'll go forward.
All right, and to that point, and I'll try to speak for our resident out here in the audience.
Thank you.
I believe what she is getting at is that if there is change that needs to be done, or somebody wanted to bring their services to the table, they would never have that opportunity if we continue just to keep reappointing the same people on there, or if a notice is not put in the paper to say, hey, I want to participate in this, next time the appointments come up, please consider me as a candidate. That
There wasn't
process
any.
is not happening.
Whenever there's
There was
an
an ad.
opening, then that's when they,
That's
yeah,
correct.
whenever there's an opening on the planning commission or on the ZBA, or even on the council, then, yeah, it's put in the paper then.
So this is kind of like the Supreme
These are
Court case, you gotta
considered-
wait for somebody to kill off before anybody gets on, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Or if they do something that we don't like.
Well, that's not true, because I know somebody did something we didn't like, and we kept,
is just that, it's a reappointment. I'm pleased with what they've done.
Well,
Knowledgeable, they seem to do a good job.
And I'll let hopefully some of the other new candidates speak on this, but I do believe there's an issue that they were, talk highly of a apartment complex, in this community, and I think that is why some people are speaking and saying, hey, we need some new bodies on these commissions and boards, if you will.
And with that said, as far as, I know that there were a lot of residents that were upset about somebody approaching us with an apartment complex. But we are bound to listen to what they are proposing.
Listening is one thing, but talking highly of it is another, and recommending it is another. I'm not saying we can't come in here and take any kind of suggestion or whatnot. I mean, that is our job. We have to listen out to it and, and do our due diligence on that process. But to speak for that is another issue. And I don't think the residents were happy with that. I think that's why some people are trying to get their names in here and saying, hey, I think I'm a better fit for this community.
And some people were probably disappointed, and some probably were not. Those that are on that commission, they are free to speak their mind. That's why they're on there. That's how the system's supposed to work.
By voting.
So with that said, any further discussion?
I'm not sure if you follow what the township does, they did not reappoint the chairman of the planning commission, and according to law, he had to stay on, so just for your information.
Doesn't matter.
Or why though?
Doesn't matter what they do. I don't really care.
Well, I mean, if this resolution was not approved, I'm not sure that Adam Klein and Joyce Welch Baker would not be able to continue on. I don't know if it's not.
Well, can we table these two things for this new information that Jackie is sharing, because I think this is actually some very good information, and if we can get verification on what she is stating, then, I mean, if that's the case, I don't understand the purpose of even going through these resolutions. If we all vote this down,
I don't know if that's the case. I didn't think there'd be an issue when it was put on the agenda. I don't know that there is an issue now.
I agree, I think for clarification of whether or not the appointment is even just a formality, or whether, I don't know, I agree, I think we ought to table it until we get the clarification, like you said.
Is that the consensus of the council?
I agree with Tim.
then I would even
Adjourn.
throw that a little further for both resolutions for the zoning, because there's a gentleman on here that I don't think should be continuing on any committee that represents the village of Goodrich.
And it's not that I have a problem with it, it's just for not that I have a problem with any of the people in particular, for clarification.
So is there a motion to table this until the January meeting?
I think that's what we're doing.
I will make a motion to table resolution 2016, 18, and 2019.
No, just do them both.
Make
Do a
two
resolution, you need two, you need
Okay.
two
You get two.
motions.
Gotcha.
So do
I'll try to
them.
streamline for
So
you.
you're gonna, let's do 18.
Yeah.
Okay, Vic?
Support.
Okay.
Now we'll do a roll call.
Baraco?
Yes.
Light?
Yes.
McCafferty?
No.
Vic?
Yes.
Baldwin? Okay. Now you wanna do the
Make a
next?
motion to table resolution number 2016-19.
Support.
That's your
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
You can't go wrong.
Baraco?
Yes.
Light?
Yes.
McCafferty?
No.
Vic?
Yes.
Baldwin?
No. Number 3 is the tax reverted property. If you would, Mrs. Sims, please.
This is a property that we talked about before. It's gone through other options and it's still there. This is one lot that's over in Fairview Hills, and then the other lot that is adjacent to the property that the county is writing a grant for and has been passed on by the governor to be reviewed. The only problem with these pieces of property is, there's two problems. Regardless of whether you take it or not, we still have to pay the back taxes, which is about $500, okay? In order to take these properties, if we wanted to sell the property in Fairview, we have to go through the process that we did before when we purchased property, do the ads, get clean title. It took about 1.5 years. In order to sell and or give that property, which was what was suggested for us to donate that property to this Parks and Recs plan that they have, we still have to get clear title, which is expensive again. My recommendation is that we pass on both of them, and we still have to pay the $500 roughly. But that's-
Jackie, what would the taxes be if we own the property? Is it a $500 every year? For the
No,
taxes?
this is back taxes.
It's just a back tax? So next year's gonna be back taxes on? Okay.
The property that's adjacent to the property that the grant's being written for is landlocked. There has been, one of the residents back there wants to buy the property, but again, in order for us to sell that to them, it's gonna cost whatever it costs to get clear title. That piece of property has a messed up title, just to put it out there. So it would cost us quite a bit of money in order to do that. The other piece of property, again, if you want to sell it, you have to go through the process. There's another person that might want to buy that, but you still have to do the bid process and get the clear title and everything else that was involved in it. So, again, my recommendation would be to pass on both of them and let, it will then be able to be looked at by people after the first of the year. We have to have this into them, next week, I believe.
For 30.
16th. But there has to be a motion made, whichever way you want to go.
Do we want to get involved in real estate?
Mhm.
Do you know the estimated cost for each piece of property? To purchase?
No.
Is it the same cost that when this was brought up before, to purchase the property from the county? Because it was gonna cost the village right around the $4,000 for both pieces of property.
It's the, at that time, it was the back taxes. I mean, the property that's landlocked is worth nothing to anybody other than if the grant people can get it. From my understanding, that's where the tornado went through, and all it is a big piece of broken down trees. The other one over here, we, I don't know, I think I don't know what they're selling for right now. We sold ours for $3,400, give or take a little bit, when we did the auction.
Yeah, I wanna say the last time that this came up, it was like $2,200 a piece for each piece of property. And I know I talked to people the last time that this came up, and nobody wanted to purchase property that we weren't gonna, one, benefit from, and at the time it was recommended that we donate it, and I could see using that money elsewhere, like Parks and Rec, or for something that the village could use instead of just give away.
Gentlemen, anything else?
I agree with the administrator.
It's not a motion.
Gonna need a motion.
Motion not to,
Motion to say no to the purchasing of Fairview Drive, property on Fairview Drive and Sherman Drive.
It would,
Something more specific.
tax ID numbers, I can put those in there if we've got them.
Motion to say no to new
to
business
accept
item
the
number
tax
3.
reverted,
I'm sorry.
to accept the tax reverted property. The motion is to
Deny.
not accept
Not
or
to-
deny.
Tonight, yeah,
Tonight.
not to accept
To not
the,
to
Something said I
accept.
seen the tax ID numbers, I must have them, but it's not on here.
Well, there are two.
Okay, and I'll put those in there.
Support.
Roll call.
Baraco,
Yes.
Light,
Yes.
McCafferty,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. The next one is number 4, the membership of the Metro Alliance.
This is a group of municipalities, I believe Doug's here.
Yep.
He is our representative, from a citizen representative, if he wants to do that. And I gave you a sample of an agenda. What happens at this meeting is when we have projects, which at this particular time we don't have any, this is the final place that the approval for those projects goes before it goes on to federal highway or the state of Michigan. So it's always good to have a representative and to pay the dues, just so that if there's a close call or something, you know, a voice is a good thing to have at these meetings. We're gonna be doing a couple projects after the first of the year. In fact, if we get the money that's being talked about on the federal level, we should be able to qualify for one of those kind of a projects. But we need a volunteer from the council, and again, if Mr. McAfee wants to be the citizen representative, you can ask him, Mr. Baldwin.
I do.
Thank you, Tom.
He does.
How often are the meetings, Jackie?
Once a month. Probably 3 times a year. In fact, I canceled the one in December, which was surprising, because I usually have a Christmas party. No Christmas party. They meet at the county building, in the 3rd floor.
7 o'clock, the third Wednesday. 7 p.m., third Wednesday. Very efficient run organization, and I tell you, everybody should go just to watch these guys whip through their agenda incredibly. Jack, I tell you, the hard work is done in committees, and this is, they're reading out loud of public intent, and it's their final votes on the majority of the issues. And you do get an idea of where the money's going, and we are getting closer and closer to the top. As other agendas are taken care of, Davis and Graham Lane, and they're going to be getting more and more into the pathway funding. It's going to be coming through them for public hearing, public voting, and a small amount of pathway money was spent this past year, but there's gonna be a lot more spent in the next 2 years.
You know where to go and where to park?
Pardon me?
You know where to go and where to park?
Oh, yeah, you wanna go?
I will go with you.
Yep. It's very fast.
We need a motion for that.
You get out
Unless
there
y'all
at
gonna
7:30.
fight over it.
Somebody else wants to do it. I on this.
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
Very good.
We need a motion here.
Make a motion for Mr. Baldwin to be the, would it be, you're not looking for the ex officio, but just the council representative for the Metro Alliance?
And Mr. McAfee as
And
a
Mr.
Citizen representative.
McAfee as a
and
citizen,
to pay the dues for
and to pay the dues for $150. Got all that?
Support.
Baldwin, McAfee dues.
There you go.
All right.
Support.
Support. Baraco,
Yes.
Light,
Yes.
McCafferty,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Number 5 is the adoption of the clerk's job description.
We've been taking a look at the job descriptions. I haven't really written up a clerk one since I was made clerk. So this is Pat's job description, and I put in the old job description, which pretty much the same, although there are some differences in it. And it needs to be adapted by the council, and it's the same situation with the treasurer's job description. Tracy is the administrative assistant, deputy clerk, deputy treasurer, building department, and sewer clerk, and we just combined all four of those job descriptions into one. And as you can see, they're all quite busy in what they do. And if somebody can answer the phone, that'd be great.
All right, so your first one, you got village deputy clerk 1,
Yes.
and that is? And then the second page is village clerk job description.
That's the original.
Okay.
Yeah, we compared to the way it was.
Yeah, I got you. So there was 11, now this one has 13, so you just added a couple things to it. And is yours in here too, Jackie?
No, I didn't get there yet.
Well, it looks like they're doing all the work.
They are. I got good people. Mine's 20 pages long.
Is the DPWs in here?
No, it's, just got these
So that's
three done
kinda
right
next?
now. These were the easy ones. Because I need them to do.
And then for the treasurer, the back page is the old and the front
Yes.
page is the new. Okay.
Same with Tracy.
All three of them what you're looking at is just so you can compare.
And I'm looking for adoption of these, and then we need to be 3 motions.
On the stuff that was added, I was a little confused, I'll be honest, coming in here, but on the stuff that was added, what was the purpose of adding these line items? Motion 11 to 13 for the clerk.
It doesn't necessarily mean they're in the same order as they were before.
Well, it's pretty simple.
Like 10 before was the annual audit. 11 is the annual audit now. Some of it has to do with what the software requires of us to do. Some of it is breaking down the types of reports that are prepared. That's why I gave you both of them, so you could take a look at them. Basically, Pat does most everything that she did before she was deputy clerk. But it's just a different job description, and she doesn't have to put her name on the line.
Any questions? You can see what is the new one versus the old one, something you can compare it to. There's not a great deal of difference.
Can we have an extra meeting to review these along with,
No, Mr. Cook, we're gonna do it tonight.
oh, that's awesome, appreciate coming out.
We won't get into why, but let's just say
Well, okay,
our due diligence was before. We're here to make decisions now.
Perfect.
Pick up
So
your packet,
some of us
finish
on
that.
Thursday couldn't come in. Friday didn't really work out because they're only here for a half a day, and this morning they didn't get here until noon. So I guess under administrative or after this, it'd be nice if we had to pack in a week in advance, so we could actually see what was
Well,
in the
first-
stuff,
first of
instead of
all,
only
Mr.
being
Vic-
able to review it for 2 days.
It wouldn't be the first time that you've done your research here at this table, and you picked up your packets.
Because that's what an open meeting is for,
Raise
Mr.
your voice,
President.
Mr.
You raise your voice at me first. You set the tone in the meeting, so I will address it as well.
I'm tired
Open
of
meetings are
doing
the
your
talk.
discovery here at this table. You should have already done your discovery. You haven't done it, that's not my problem. Everybody else, I hope, has done their discovery.
It was a simpler request. to
We're not
review
gonna
so we
kick
could
the
see
can
it.
down the road. That was in the letter that I sent out earlier. I expect to be efficient and transparent. If
So
we
we
may,
may not be able to see the administrative job duties in the DPW to compare them to see what's the same and what's not. That's not being transparent. It's just a separate request. I mean, I didn't say I wasn't against anything, I just wanted to
and I've
review.
denied it, so let's go
I'm going
forward.
to be doing it. the rest of them,
It-
it take time.
No, Jack, and I understand that. I just wanted to review everything as a whole before we went forward. I didn't say that anything in here was wrong whatsoever. Didn't say you did anything wrong.
We're
Well,
gonna-
I thought you said you didn't have the DPW and the administrators, maybe I heard wrong.
Right, because that's,
You already
that's
answered
not
the
in
question.
here.
Let's go forward.
Okay.
I'm looking for a motion to adopt the clerk's job description, job description, if there's no more discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the village deputy clerk 1 job description.
I'll support that. Roll call, please.
Baraco,
Yes.
Light,
Yes.
Yes.
Dick,
No,
Baldwin.
Yes. The next one is number 6, the adoption of the treasurer's job description. Any further discussion? Adopt the treasurer's job description as presented this evening.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Baraco,
Yes.
Light, McCafferty,
Yes.
Dick,
no.
Baldwin.
Yes. Number 7 is the adoption of the administrative assistant, deputy clerk, deputy treasurer, building department assistant, sewer clerk job description. I'm looking for a motion to accept that. Excuse me? And it was, too.
Motion to accept the administrative assistant, deputy clerk, deputy treasurer, building department, sewer clerk job description.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Baraco,
Yes.
Light,
Yes.
McCafferty,
Yes.
Dick,
No.
Baldwin.
Yes. The number 8 is the resolution 2016-20, official of the planning commission. Comments?
The only comment I have or a question is, back when I first came in here, and again, this is a little discouraged, so I'm sorry, Mr. President, for ruining the meeting, but when it was suggested that I try to get on the Parks and Rec Committee, my wife was on there, and it came up that it might be a conflict of interest. So I just wanted to see if that was the same, I believe your mom's on the planning commission, if that would too be a conflict of interest for Shane to be on there.
And it is not. I've already talked to the attorney.
So it was only a conflict of interest when I wanted to be on there with one of my
It was
relatives.
never stated for sure there would be a conflict of interest between,
Hey, just bring it up.
I'm trying to answer the question,
I
unless
apologize.
you don't want me to.
No, please do.
On the Parks and Recs, it was not determined that that would be a conflict of interest. A person on, a married couple cannot have a person on the council and the planning commission. Doesn't say anything about mother, daughter, sister, brother, anything. That was checked out before.
Any discussion? And I'm looking for a motion. And I'll make a motion to accept the resolution 2016-20 ex officio of the planning commission.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Baraco,
Yes.
Light,
Yes.
McCafferty,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. The appointment, Park and Rec, we're crossing off, that's number 9. Number 10 is the appointment to the Chamber of Commerce.
And with these appointments, as a voluntary attendance at these meetings, we like to have somebody from the council volunteer to go to these meetings. If you want to go every month, or you want to go longer than that, that's up to you. The Chamber of Commerce meets the third Wednesday of the month, and they meet at different places. the 16th of November. It was at John Steakhouse. So we're looking for somebody that would like to be a part of the chamber. They do different things within the community, and it helps to have somebody participate in that, and that they just did the downtown Christmas, and it helps to have somebody there that can come back to council and say they're working on this and this, and we need to close the road, and, you know, those types of things.
What did you say it was again, I'm sorry, third Wednesday?
Third Wednesday. Now, again, going into the new year, so they may change it, but I have to let whoever know.
Do you know what time that normally is during the day? Is it like
Used to be
lunchtime?
at 8 o'clock,
In the morning?
yeah. It's changed now. This one was at 9 AM, so
Yeah.
I think they're usually in the morning.
I'd have to do that.
Done.
That was a volunteer.
That was a volunteer.
Okay. These, you can make a motion for these if you want, but
I don't think we need to, do we?
No, if you volunteer.
Volunteer.
Well, it kind of locks it in then if you've
Yeah,
got
it's
a
kind
name
of
down in there. We could even make it a resolution.
Just have to make sure I get the right dates and times and whatever.
Yeah.
the appointment to Walk Board Bike Run. This is the organization that we voted for to have an eighth of a mil, I believe it is, to work on bike paths in the village and the township. They're doing great things with that program. They meet on the first Tuesday of the month, and they're usually in the evening. And if they don't have anything to talk about, then they would send an email out to cancel that meeting. I think Mr. Baldwin's gone to a few of those meetings.
And I'll tell you what they've done an awful lot of work. And you got a good pat on the back. I would continue going there when I can. I can't make all of those meetings, but I would certainly try to make as many as I possibly could. And anyone else is always, let's go to those too.
You're volunteering?
I am volunteering.
And the third one is Good Times in Goodrich. I'm not exactly sure when they meet. I don't think they meet on a monthly basis. It's usually in the
They do.
evening, unless somebody else knows.
Yes, I'm already on that committee as the parade planner. I'll volunteer for that.
Well, that was easy.
This is really great.
So when do they meet?
Boom,
It
it's on.
changes.
It does, okay,
It
all right.
it varies.
I'd like to go there, so if you could let me
Absolutely,
know, so.
I'm
absolutely.
sure they wouldn't mind anybody going to.
No.
And this one, we participate in this particular program a lot more than the other ones, in that the DPW has to get the park ready and make sure that, last year we had a beer tent, make sure that things are handled for that with the person that's working with Good Times, closing off streets. With that, that's all I have.
Great. Thank you everyone for volunteering. How did you get on it?
I'm on stuff already, and not the last time I was voluntold what I was gonna do.
All right, the last one on our list here is the tires for the grade.
Sorry about that. I put one bid in your packet, and then the other ones came drifting in after the packets were put together. We do have a local bid from Jerry's Tire, they're on Hill Road in Flint. The installation, this is the one that I would recommend that we go with. The installation, the two front tires and everything, the O-rings, all that stuff, is $1,107 installed. And we get another bid that you have in your packet.
That one was with Jerry's Tire, you said?
Yes.
Jerry's Tire. In your packet, I put the first bid that came in from GCR. Same thing installed, $1,530. The Jerry's Tire is a Goodyear tire. The GCR is a Firestone tire. And then I have some other ones that are off-brand, which I don't recommend that we get off-brand, mainly because the price for a company in Ohio is $888.42. That is not delivered or installed. By the time that takes place, I'm sure you're up to the first bid. Jerry's Tire, and then GCR also had an off-brand, they don't recommend, they put right on the bid, they don't recommend it because it has dry rot, and that was $11.75. It has potential of dry rot. Put it that way. And then Chicago Tire, Chicago, they have, it includes the shipping, but it's not installation. $1,150 to $779, and these say right on here, Flemish Tire. I'm not sure what that means. Mr. Bozeman, help me out with that. It could mean that they spelled the word wrong, or it could mean something else.
It could be anything from cosmetic to shifted belts.
But again, it's not here, and it's not installed. My recommendation would be Jerry's Tire for $11.07.
These are split rims, these are split rims, so I mean, if
No
you get some
tubes.
special person to put these on, they're dangerous.
Warranties are the same,
Pardon me?
warranties are the same for all of them?
Yeah. And we can put it on the credit card.
I believe that the tires.
Now you're catching on, I like
that
it.
are on there
I
right
usually
now,
do those kind of things.
the back four were bought some time ago, and they took the best of the back four and they put them on the front. And maybe you know, 8 years ago when you bought the new tires, I talked to Pete and he wasn't sure, but
For the front, for the
That was
back.
down.
back, he bought 4 tires for the back at one
It
time.
was, well, they were on there for 11 years, so, shortly there, I would say 8 to 10 years ago.
Yeah, I saw the bid and went and looked at them, and they're blown skids,
Yeah, they're bad.
they're terrible.
So I'm looking for a motion to buy tires so that we can get them on because they're in need of the tires.
I make a motion to approve purchasing the tires for the quote of, what was it,
$1,107,
$7,
Not to exceed.
not to exceed.
Support.
Roll call. Veronica?
Yes.
Light,
Yes.
McCaffrey,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes. Okay, public comment, you're free to discuss whatever you'd like. And I will add, because we do not have an open dialogue, we're not going to talk back and forth.
No,
okay.
that's fine.
Don't you understand?
No, I don't really think that we would anyways. I'd like to thank Jake. I think that he seems to be a very caring board person, and Tim as well. I've seen you as well, Tim. I think all 3 of you gentlemen are showing some initiative and some caring about the board, and I do so appreciate that. And I really think that the word nepotism that's being used against you is unfortunate that it isn't applying to the whole board, I say. Because it seems to me that it does, Shannon, apply to you as well as anybody else on this board. And I think we need fresh people in here. I think we need to see new ideas coming into play. And if you roll over people, it's not hardly a democracy that we should applaud. I think we really need to look at applicants and be able to find out whether or not their interests may bring to this table some new ideas.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you. Sorry I missed the first part of the meeting. I don't know if Jake asked to have the drain issue put on the agenda or not. I don't know what the discussion was, but I'd like to see that put on the agenda. we can discuss other things than the legal implications of the lawsuit. We can discuss the lawyer's fees. I think the lawyer's fees this time was $1,567. In the past, it's been $3,000 and $5,000 a month. What are we paying for? You make a report. We can also talk about why we don't have insurance for that, if that is true. Because I think we understand, and we've been told there's no insurance coverage for this issue. Why? It's been glossed over and blown over and ran by. Why don't we have insurance pay for this lawyer's fee and for this case? That's monumental. It's been forgotten. As far as the committees go, I'd like to see, and I know that most of the committees, 100% of the people live in the village. I understand that may not be true of the planning commission. I'd like to be corrected on that if that's not true. I think that volunteers should replace people who don't live in the village. Why would we have people?
Everybody lives in the building.
Everybody lives, okay, thank you. I thank you, I stand corrected on that. Back to the planning commission, I think when we had the meeting, the public meeting on the apartment was standing room only. Only one person on the planning committee he spoke up, it was Linda May, spoke up and indicated that she didn't think it was a good idea. And the rest of the committee, to a person, was in favor of it. I don't think you can go through this town and find 5 people that want an apartment or a tattoo parlor. I think you have a great divide of what's going on in this building and what people out there want. And input from people is very important. And I think that this is a great place to hide. It's a great place to run things without the public knowing what's going on, and that's always been a concern of mine. Back to the apartment just for a second, that could have easily been taken care of because we were approached to do a favor, change our zoning. And we didn't have to do that, but it seems like politicians see dollars and homeowners see a village. As far as getting information out ahead of time, I think that's important too. I think you should make a motion at one of your meetings that these packets get delivered 1 week ahead of time, 1 whole week. If that is not possible because you're waiting on a lawyer for something or other, you deliver what you can. And you understand that there's been a delay. You went over some job descriptions, and understand you're gonna be looking in the next meeting or so about other job descriptions. Is that true? Would you call them, we keep hearing concerns. The lawyers, we're spending some money on this, is really starting to mount up. There's also one here, the $771 for Rotella versus the village. I'd like to see that explained in simple language that people can understand. I understand that was something to do with the Freedom of Information Act not being fulfilled. I think, and I know we made changes, the attorney sits in and whatnot, which probably ups the cost when we had his time. But not answering Freedom of Information Acts is just unnecessary. That should never happen. Never. I don't know what this $771 is, but I think we need an explanation of that. In general, when you look at this sheet and you vote on it, there's not a lot of highlight. It is up to you to do a little bit of digging. But one thing I'd like to highlight is, the money that you're spending on your vehicles. Every month it's something, and, I understand we have a new street administrator, but we're, graph $2,000 for a truck repair. And we're paying, grader repair, $754. You know, perhaps when we have our reports, we could report what we're spending the money on. You know, that should be a separate item, because that's a major item. But, thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Anyone else?
I'll just say, I'm Wendy Schumann-Harrell, and I have no
Thank you.
other motives than, I simply like to be involved with the village, so I can speak for myself. That's just what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, this turns it over to the council. Council has the opportunity to speak now.
I would like to say something. This isn't the first time that I've heard the word nepotism about me, about any of my family members. Probably won't be the last time either. I did do my due diligence in talking to the attorney when it came to my being, I volunteered to be on the planning commission way before I became a council person. When I was asked to be the ex officio, it was in October of 2015. And I chose to do that. It wasn't an issue of nepotism then. I was well aware that my mother and I serve on the planning commission together. And we don't talk and go, ooh, what are we gonna do for the village? How can we do this? How can we do that? It's not that at all. I was raised to be involved in my community, and that's what I thought that I was doing, and that's what I continue to do. I spoke with the attorney when my stepdad was appointed to the zoning board. I asked, okay, before this goes, before I vote on anything, one, my mom and I are on the planning commission together. Is that enough? No, it's not, because I didn't appoint her. That's the true definition of nepotism. If I would have appointed my mother to the planning commission, shame on me, nepotism. She did not appoint me to the planning commission. Shame on her, that would have been nepotism. I did not, I asked the attorney, is this going to be nepotism if I vote to have my stepdad on the zoning board of appeals? The attorney told me, no, it was not, because I have no interest in anything that they are voting on. Now, if I was asking to have my property rezoned, my dad would not be able to vote, my stepdad, pardon me, would not be able to vote on that, because he is related to me through marriage, not by birthright. But he would not be able to vote on that because he would be doing something for me. That would be considered something that would be negligent. I have no desire nor the heart to screw the village over in any sense of the word. I've talked to people. I've gone door to door. For God's sakes, I got the majority of the vote when it came for election time. I don't think that the majority of the people in Goodrich would have voted me in had they not had the confidence in me. I'm not a politician. I'm not up here campaigning for anything other than the good of my community. I'm raising 2 girls here. I've lived here for 17 years. I have no desire to move. I've talked to people who I wouldn't necessarily have gone and knocked on their door to talk to. When I was out campaigning, I knocked on Mr. Baracco's door. I introduced myself. I said, I'm Shannon McCafferty. I'm running for village council. He said, I know, I am too. I said, I know you are. I said, I know you are. I commented on his front door. He's got a lovely front door. I went to Mr. Light's home and knocked on his door. I did not go to your house. But I'm not trying to hide behind this table for anything. I've told people if you need to get a hold of me, I have an email address. You can contact the village offices to get a hold of me. And I will answer any question that I can. I may not be able to deliver an answer to you right away without doing some type of research, but I will. I listen to people. Let's bring, since the apartments were brought up, I had no intent, and I knocked on your door, and I told you I had no intent of voting yes on that apartment complex as a planning commission member, because the majority of the people that I talked to, outside of the people that were here in that room, yelling and screaming about how they didn't want an apartment community, said something to me. I had letters from I had a letter from people. I was communicating with people on Facebook. I brought this to the table, and I read that letter. I take what the people tell me to be very serious. Whether or not what I think as Shannon McCafferty citizen, that doesn't matter when I'm sitting up here. I'm up here representing the people of my community. I'm not up here representing myself and or any agenda or motive that people may or may not think that I have. And with that being said, again, I apologize for my little rant. I will get off my soapbox, but I felt the need to express that, and I'm here for the village, and thank you for listening. That's all I got. I know, I need some water.
I'd like to say just a couple things. One, I still haven't got a survey or zoning from the Parks and Rec. I'd like to have an official survey done that shows the actual residents of the park, so we can get an official overview of what kind of property I'm dealing with. So that's just a request. Also,
That has to come through the board.
yeah, okay,
It's spending money.
okay. Then I would like to
Because we don't have
somehow do that, because it seems like we should have something like that, but we don't. The other thing I would like to say, that if we could try to get the meeting packets by Tuesday before the meeting, I'm not sure why it's a hard thing to do or not, and if you need my help, I can come up and help, I don't know what it is. Even if we can get, someone mentioned the majority of it done, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I too work full-time, single dad, a whole bunch of stuff, so it does take some time to do some research. So I would like to get that in advance, and I don't know why that would be an issue or not. Also speaking about listening to public comment and having open discussion, starting in February, I'd like to have a quarterly town hall where all members of the community can come and just talk. We might not be able to get answers, and I don't want it to be something where we're sitting up here with these mics in front of our faces, but maybe in a circle community where we have coffees and cookies, and I don't know, I'll buy some cookies, whatever, and we can just talk. And it doesn't have to be Goodrich Village, it could be Atlas Township residents. We just get some ideas, some concerns, and have a conversations. You might not be able to get direct answers, and we may not be able to, do some things, but I think it's a good idea if people want to be involved and they want to have some input. I don't see anything wrong with having a quarterly town hall where we can come and talk as a community versus no, look at me in the face and I can't say nothing back to you, right? So that's what I say. And I plan on doing that regardless in February, no matter what, so look for that coming soon.
Streets,
Huh?
yeah, streets.
Oh, the streets. So, yeah, I did take your advice and did ask a couple. I was gonna go out this week and look at the roads, snow put a damper on that, but, street-wise, I did go around and ask some of the members, or not the members, some of the local communities about what we thought about repairing the streets and some of the bad streets. I kind of agree with some of them, and in regards to how we're gonna pay for it, allow them to just put it back in my face and say, well, I pay taxes for you to fix them, so just fix them. So I do understand that, and I do like the fact that Tim went around and he's trying to get some people from the subdivisions together. I know my sub, we have a spokesperson already that is doing that. But I think that's something that these quarterly town halls, where we can come together and talk about some of these issues, we can get some ideas about our roads, because I'd like to see our roads better, I'd like to see our parks better, I'd like to see everything better, I'd like to see, you know, downtown village events move to downtown, not in the park. I'd like to see a lot of that stuff, and I think we could do that if we actually start talking instead of just, you know, bickering, so that's my concern.
Right after the election. And one of the things that I did say in there was that if there, and I know I've said this before at the meetings, if anyone has an issue picking up the packets, contact me. I'd make sure that they got the packet. It was also in their letter that they received here too. When it comes to this meeting, it's something to where we are here to discuss, and discuss we must. I want an open dialogue with the council. I don't want discovery. Discovery should be something that should already be done. Of course, there's going to be a certain question or two that you're going to have. That's part of our discussion. But to sit here and go through and do your discovery in our meetings is not right. It's not the first time that we've had a council person that was not able to pick up his packet. Actually, it's happened several times. That's why I made it very clear verbally at the meetings and also in writing that if you do have an issue, I will bring it to you. Pick them up at my house, whatever it takes. I'm not trying to deny anybody from talking and discussing things here, but when we get here, it's about making decisions. Definitely discussion, but your discovery it should already be done. I don't see how you can actually do a thorough job doing your discovery at this meeting. That's kind of how I stand with that. In my letter, I kind of tried to promote the two